Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm sharing the wrap-up video, and it's a process video for my very first pocket letter ever. And I had 2 hours of video, so even when I edited it, it was about 40 minutes. So I sped it way up and tried to chop out like the die cutting and the parts that you didn't really need to see. Plus, sometimes I got off camera a little. What I'm fiddling with here is one of those wooden heart embellishments, and I think Sabrina K sent those to me, and some of you have been picking things up at Tuesday morning that are like that. And then that brown piece under it is actually another wood layer. Now remember, this is my first pocket letter ever, and what I realized is 2 layers of wood, not the smartest. It was really hard to load the back, so I liked how it looked, but it was a little too thick. So I need to be more careful about that when I'm working on my embellishments, and I talked about that a little bit in the last video. Like my bling that I used for the centers was too thick. Then part of my goal for this pocket video, or this pocket letter, was to do different things. So then I decided that I needed a tulle rosette, but I didn't have any made, so it's a slippery slope. And O'Donna had a video quite a while ago showing how to make them, and it never turned out for me, but this one actually went pretty well. It was a little fluffy, a little weird, but it worked itself out. Then it was way too big because I didn't trim down the tulle, so I got my circle dies out and tested which one was the right size for that red heart. And I didn't want it to be the same size, so I went 2 sizes up and ran it through the die cutting machine. Then the wood panel behind it was a little too big. So if it's flat, you can die cut it. Just about anything. Paint skins, tulle, whatever. Netting, I could probably do that netting too. And I talked about that netting in the last video. Then I'm just layering it up. So I have the red netting and the white tulle, and then the red circle is from poster board, super inexpensive. Actually, I think that piece might have been from a garage sale. And then putting it on the paper. And I like how that one turned out. I would love at the end of this video for you guys to tell me which ones you, like if you have a favorite pocket, which decorations you liked more, or if there's one you don't like, tell me, because I'm going to make more of these, and I won't necessarily show the videos, but I would like to know, like if there's some you look at and you go, oh, that one's just, it's without, shouldn't do that, then let me know. Okay, this next one it's a little hard to see in this when we're backed up so much, but it has a piece of a die down the left side that's lacy and green, and then ice skates, and I put Wink of Stella on the blade, and I stuck that flower on there sort of as an experiment, but it had adhesive on the back, so then I didn't want to lift it up. Like I think it had a foam square or something. Then I had this piece a while ago. My friend Noni got some dies that were like postage stamp ones, and I played with one, and I had a piece of cardstock from it. And then I thought that would be adorable with that postage stamp that was left over from the Cardabella Christmas journal. So I used that sticker in here, and I really like how that square turned out, this one right here. Then I put a glue dot because so the part that had an extra layer of paper, I put art glitter glue, and then I made up the gap on the other part with a glue dot. So that's a trick. You can use an extra layer of paper or foam mount or whatever, so that I don't always use the same adhesive if it's not a flat surface. Then I had brads that I had taken the back off, that little star, and I just filled it in with a glue dot and stuck it on there, probably 2 glue dots. Now I'm experimenting because I wanted gold to be represented in a couple different places. Then that piece of ribbon was actually already tied that way, just a little long, so I trimmed it down and added it. Pocket letters, cards, whatever you're making, just look around. All things red, green, and gold went into this, and white. Last year, Noni went on this spree and cut like 1,000,000 snowflakes. I mean 1,000,000. And I made cards with them, and then she still has a whole bunch. She has more than is showing in that container. So she was here and I did through her snowflake container. And then Merry and Bright, isn't that just the cutest thing? When I looked at my pocket letter, I didn't have text. I didn't have like a die cut sentiment, and I thought, well, I need a little variety in my 9 boxes, and so I wanted one of those. And I'm using lots of stars because I like stars, right? If you like hearts, use hearts. Whatever makes you happy when you make your pocket letter. And then I'm going to show you how I loaded up the back too, which this was my first one and it was really hard. When I sped it up a bunch, you won't see how much I struggled, but I did struggle a lot. And I wanted to use the gold tag, but I could not figure out, it just wasn't coming together right. Here I'm cutting the backs off of Brad's using my scissors, and like the biggest scissors I own. So that's not a perfect system. But Creative Gigi does that, and I think it would be fine. I just need to use smaller scissors. And then I found the needle nose pliers and kind of smashed it down a little better. But again, I'm fiddling with Brad's. Since I didn't have a plan, I didn't prep all my embellishments ahead of time, right? So I just threw some things and had them in containers coming back from the beach. I need to make about 100 more Christmas things, or I'm going to have to clean my craft room. Maybe I could just use up all the stuff. I like stars, so I thought a few more stars, big stars, little stars, Merry and Bright. So there's that one. One thing I realized when this was done, when this video was all done, is I'll probably go back in and add like little bits of bling. I don't have like tiny rhinestones here and there, and I think I have more enamel dots that would match this. I wasn't thinking about just like general embellishments and bits of stuff. And as the project went on, I sort of forgot that I was trying to make it so you could remove the things. So like I just put art glitter glue all over the back of that green star. So that sucker is not coming off of there. Now, the recipient could always take scissors and just trim it down and just have the green star, or they could just use that the way it is. That whole card, you could take that 2.5 by 3.5 card and use it on a card or a journal page or whatever. You can just think of them as like 9 individual embellishment pages. I tried to fiddle with this paperclip thing. It didn't work. That's a card that Noni was making. It was super cute. You just got to see it really fast. It was white heat embossed. Okay, so then I remembered, general stuff. When I went to look for something and I found gold star puffy stickers. How cute were those? And I didn't like the flower I was trying to use on that gold tag. I just thought it wasn't very exciting, and I'd already used the flower, and I just didn't like it. So I cut out a green tree and put it on there, and I really liked how that popped. Then I had to go back and clean it up a little because I got too much glue on it, and I got off camera a little bit. I use Kleenex or my little pokey tool, not the metal ones, but the plastic one. That's what I was doing earlier with the wood thing. See, got a Kleenex, polished it right up. Art glitter glue dries clear, but I always worry that on mirror paper it's going to kind of show, right? Not the glue itself, but just the change in sheen on shiny paper. Then I moved things around because I didn't want the 2 green things right next to each other. I wanted more green moved around. Does that make sense? So when you're looking at the pocket letter itself and trying to have variety, I just wanted them to move around. Okay, now I'm going to start loading the back. And I heard that you're supposed to put tea in them. And my favorite tea was way too fat to fit in the back of that. So I gave up on that idea. That wasn't going to work. And at first I started out putting embellishments that matched the front into the same square in the back. That was a dumb idea. You just have to put them where they fit because some things were too thick and they didn't match up. Does that make sense? So I put the gold tags behind the gold tag in the front. Well, that's a super thin slot, so I could have put something fatter in there. So later I have to go back and rearrange things a little bit, and I had some troubles with them. Then I put ice skates behind the ice skates, but that was super boring because it was on white, right? White on white. It just doesn't look that good. Then I realized I hadn't given the recipient any of the golden white string that comes with the tags, and then I fiddled with it and tried to make it cute. Then I went through all my bling, and I have a million things of blue, but I couldn't find colors that I wanted to put in here. So I just took a giant sheet and cut down a piece that fit in there. So if you don't have small ones, do it that way. Then I put some of that red netting in there because I thought that would be fun for the recipient. It's pretty stiff, so it fought me quite a bit. And then I tried to put a scrap in, but it didn't fit, so I pulled it out. Then I had this baggie of silver snowflakes, which I don't think I used on this project. And then I wanted to add some snowflake charms in there. The snowflake charms were just too thick, so I had to take one back out, and then I couldn't put them in that pocket with the wood, right? So this is where I realized, okay, you can't always put things behind what they match. You just have to put them where they fit in case you made your embellishments too thick. And then I start looking at it and I like it, but I am short on trees because I wanted more trees to tuck in the back. Then I took Wink of Stella and touched up one of the trees so that it had some sparkle to it. I left the other one plain, but I didn't use very much glitter in this. I probably should have used more. I realized there was another size in the set that would fit in the 2.5 by 3 pocket, right? That rules out a lot of things. And not that you can't go across the front and not stay in the pockets, but I just wanted to try to keep it simpler for my first one. Okay, so now I'm evaluating it. Noni and I are looking at it. We're talking about it and finding a few more things to stuff it with. And then we realized I had an empty spot and we have 1,000,000 snowflakes. And who wouldn't want glittery snowflakes? But some of them are very thin, so I was trying to find sturdy enough ones. Then I had a little tiny white tag, so we put that in there. Just kind of going around the counter and finding what would look cute and also what would fit. I didn't actually write a note and put it in there, but maybe I'll remember to do that before I send it to the recipient, because I guess in a pocket letter, that's originally how the concept started, like a letter to your pen pal. So there you can see how it looks. I don't love the bottom center square where the green shows through the ornaments and there's not a lot. So we're going to go back and patch that up in a minute. And I'm just going back and loading it. And it's tough, like jiggling it and fitting the die cuts and looking at, okay, that doesn't work for me. I want it to be cute. So when you turn it around, you're inspired to use the stuff and it pops and, you're inspired. And that white behind the gold tag tree, I just tore some white cardstock and then trimmed it down. That's all it is, nothing fancy. I wondered about heat embossing, or like I have a snow marker that you hit with the embossing tool and it puffs up. But I figured in the jackets that would get smushed and gross, so I didn't try it. Okay, then I put tape on there. Then after I tore it, Noni was like, oh, you could have just wrapped it around. So yeah. And then I really liked that tape, so I put it on there again. And I had lots of Christmas tape, so I might go across the middle and seal the squares before I send it. I don't know if that's a thing you do. Then I tucked the green trees in there so that the ice skates popped a little more, and it was just more interesting, I thought. Then I'm just tidying up the tape. There you go. And then I folded it up to test it. And then I found another tree. And so it gets tricky to tuck the stuff in. I mean, I don't think there's any like super secret way, but you just have to be careful because you have all these die cuts and you don't want to damage them. And I kind of mixed things up, like I have an ornament in there with the netting because otherwise it wasn't cute. Okay, so this one, it was boring and it was too much of that green paper across the bottom, so I didn't like it. So I went to Noni's. Noni is my friend, but she was here, and then I had to go to her house to get the dies. And then I came home and I cut them out. So I'm using the poster board, the red that I used originally, and the mirror, or she used, and I cut out the opposites. You could do tone on tone and use 2 different golds, or I could have cut them just the same and put them in, but I really wanted them to be shiny and wow. So I went in with glue and filled them in. Then I just polished it off with a Kleenex. And then here I put glue in the whole thing, zoomed you in so you could see I finally found the tweezers. And I tried to just push them through instead of popping them out and then placing them individually. Pushing them through is the faster, better way, but it doesn't always work. So now you can see it's much more interesting than having all that green paper across the bottom. See, look how cute that is. I like it a lot better that way. And that's how the pockets turned out. So let me know if there's a section you think I need to work on or something that I could do better. This is my first one ever, and I would love to have pointers from you guys. Don't be shy at all. But I think overall, it turned out pretty good. It's pretty fun, and I hope that the person likes it. And I think we should do a giveaway with it, but I'm going to wait a couple days because I already have that 1,300 subscriber giveaway going. If you haven't entered that one, go back and watch that video, and because I'm going to let that one run for a little while longer. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week. I have quite a few more videos coming your way, and I'm doing some challenges in November. Bye-bye.